Black Lives Matter. We have heard those three words so many times over the past few years. We're going to continue to hear those words, but today we're going to break down the myths and misconceptions. I am here with the Reverend Sherry Dickerson, who is the founder and executive director for Black Lives Matter Oklahoma. How are you doing today, Sherry?
I am well. It's been one of those days, but I am glad to be here.
I know you're in Oklahoma City, huge ice storm. How are you faring there?
Luckily, the people of Oklahoma City and those surrounding areas that have been affected really are into being community. And so the amount of support, camaraderie, and just kinship that we are witnessing and are able to participate within has been a true blessing. It has been encouraging, and I am so proud of how everyone is responding to help one another.
Definitely, and here in Tulsa, we are definitely thinking about our neighbors in Oklahoma City. Now, Black Lives Matter. I mean, it is an amazing organization and been at the forefront of so many of the things that we're experiencing in the world around social injustices. But we know it's also become very polarizing for some people. Why do you think that it's become polarizing?
There have been deliberate and intentional missions to discredit and disparage the organization as a whole. Mm-hmm. And then we do have some local entities that also try to simply attack your local chapters because they do not want to they don't want to see us rise. And so that's not something that we're unfamiliar with, but my grandmother told me very early on, when you are doing a good work and you know it is your purpose, then those that are supposed to be part of that, even if it's just for a season, they will fall into place. Mm-hmm. She said, so stick with that team. And some of the best advice she ever gave me is never chase a lie. And so we do not spend our time trying to literally defunct or to dispute the fallacies that are created. We say, judge us by our work, and we just keep doing the work.
So let's just clear this up. Is it a political statement or not?
I don't think that the lives of an entire race of people should ever be politicized. I believe that all Black lives matter. And that certainly is not saying that no one else's does, but we realize the disparities of Black and brown people in this country. And so it is not political. It is a fact. It is a demand that we be respected as part of humanity. And it is a mission that every Black person realizes that we stand with them. We say that their lives matter and that every person is a person of value.
That's what I think is the most frustrating part about Black Lives Matter is that people get into the all lives matter issue and they make it political. So I really appreciate what you said. What are some of the misconceptions that people have about the organization? Because that's really what all of this comes from, our misconceptions.
Some of the main monikers that we get, and I want to say that one, a lot of the statements that I am making are coming directly from Cherie's own perspective. They are my views and my perspectives, and they don't all represent the organization as a whole. However, a lot of people, we're all terrorists, we're Marxist, we're not people of faith, we are a subvert or covert division of a political party, and all of those things are definitely untrue. I know this because I am working within this organization and this system, and Black Lives Matter was created to be a movement to amplify and uplift all Black lives. And that's our basic global mission, to where we feel respected and protected. And so there's also this myth. Sometimes I wish it was truer than than it ever has been is that we have a lot of funders. I'm always told about the George Soros money. Well,
Right.
um, I've never spoken to him or anyone associated with his organization. Would we deny money? No. Money, we need finance and funding to be able to help uplift our communities. So we would take donations from anyone, but without strings, because we say we keep us safe. We know how to advocate for ourselves and for our communities. And there's another myth that we are anti-LGBTQ. Absolutely untrue. I am a queer clergy person who identifies as non-gender conforming, but I always celebrate my femininity and never get offended. My pronouns are she, her, they, them, and I've been called so much worse. So anywhere you get within that realm, we good. It's also said that we're people who do not respect or honor those who are people of faith. Absolutely untrue. We just say that you get to be who you are and define that for yourself.
Right. I love all of that. I love the intersectionality. Now, Black Lives Matter is usually known for police brutality, fighting police brutality. But what are the other things that that the movement does as well besides police brutality? Because especially as you're talking about donations, and it is a nonprofit organization, I think people will be interested in knowing what else the organization does.
So on a national level, and I do want to say that a lot of, as an organization, it has been decentralized. And why? Is because the organization understood that every locale, every chapter needs to have the autonomy and the ability to customize for what is needed in that particular location. With Oklahoma, yes, police brutality, since we've been but within the top 3 for the last 20 years of police involved fatalities or situations,
Mm-hmm.
that's always at the top tier of what we do. But we also are supporting Black trans women. And we diversify, and we are in community with our indigenous sisters and brothers, and with our Latinx communities and the immigrant communities, and even those that are undocumented and unafraid. We rock with all of those people. And so what we're doing is we look for opportunities that we can partner. So we help the Dream Act Oklahoma group here, that is a youth-led queer group that works around immigration justice. We
Okay.
partner with that. We work with Women's March Oklahoma around issues of reproductive justice. And I truly believe that that Black women lead, and that you can trust Black women. So we also are starting programming around helping amplify and uplift organizations, businesses, and efforts of Black women. So there's a variety of things that we're doing. We're even starting, I just left a meeting from talking about it. We haven't decided what we were going to name it. We were talking about PBS, but
Mm-hmm.
starting a faith arm of BLM, to where clergy are getting involved to be able to also, I guess, service the spiritual needs of
Mm-hmm.
those who are having conflict. We know that as Black people, some of us have experienced hurt within our systems of faith, and they're wanting to start to restore. And so we're
So,
about that and increasing Black joy.
so let me switch gears for just a minute. Can you talk to us a little bit about the Prater 5 and what that whole issue was?
Okay, so the whole issue, and I have to, there were um, over 45 people who, during the protest that happened from around May 30th into June, that were arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And the Prater 5 were just 5 of the people that were actually arrested for situations that while they were participating at that particular group were painting, they were doing a mural. And their cases have actually been, everything has been worked out within the court systems. and I don't want to speak on their behalf, because I do not have permission, but they were just 5 of the people who were standing in their right to protest, in their right to assemble, and literally were treated unjust by the judicial system here. We had outrageous bond amount set. The least amount of bond for one person was $100,000. The maximum amount that we had to pay to be able to post bond for one person was $1,050,000.
Wow.
And most of the Prater 5, their bonds were between $200,000 and I think $500,000 per person.
And this is for painting a mural.
Yes, they were painting a mural, and they were saying that they acted outside of what was appropriate with an interaction with an officer when he came into that area. I'm certainly not an attorney, so I don't want to try to speak to the legalese of what actually the charge meant. But they, all of them collectively did decide to, with their pro bono attorneys, we had amazing pro bono attorneys that stepped in and are representing all of the protesters at no cost, and many other people who are serving in different capacities. But those young people are still out there raising their voices, still participating in civil disobedience as appropriate, and but they are being cautious to make sure that they don't do anything that would that could divert their futures. That's what we were concerned about, because it was so unfair and just really egregious at the charges, because they were charging them with felonies for protesting.
Wow. Now, Sherry, you have so many things. I read your bio, and I mean, you are a community servant in your heart, and you have so many things that you already have going on. Why did you decide that you wanted to found Black Lives Matter in Oklahoma? And then just, I mean, how do you do everything that you get done?
So I just learned today, one of my friends said, I am terrible at creating appropriate boundaries.
Okay.
And I don't like to say no. And she said that probably came from me being a person who was within the foster care system. And so I am acknowledging that that is one of the areas that I'm not as strong where I should be. But also, having been adopted and come into a family of ministers and community servants, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to serve. And it's something that I have always wanted to do, and realized that that is one of my purpose for literally being here. And I think it's the way that we give back to humanity, because I have been truly blessed. And I also do what my mom and my grandmother told me to do. So some things I didn't have an option in.
Right. And what was it that they told you to do?
They told me to love more, and to love all. That if you do not give hate space to fester and to grow, it will increase the lives of others, but it will also keep you grounded. They also taught me that when wealth is obtained, that is to be shared, to help literally expand the blessing of the entire community. And so there's nothing that I enjoy more. And I'm glad that I had those 2 amazing women to impart those lessons to me. And they also said, feed everybody.
Those are great lessons for all of us. And I hope that everybody can take a piece of that and make the world a better place. Thank you so much for just providing the time. I know that it's crazy in Oklahoma City, and you had to run out just to talk to us. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Being a pastor, running out to talk is something that comes very easy and very instinctively. So I appreciate the opportunity, and for you all giving another voice to BLM and all of the work that we do.
Of course.
And certainly I am the least of those. We have an amazing team. And so I have to uplift that this organization here in Oklahoma City would not function if it was not for our amazing volunteers. We're all volunteer that do such good work, and every day they make us look excellent, and we try to strive to just do what we can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Black Lives Matter is not a political statement. It's a fact. You just heard that from Sherry Dickerson, founder of Black Lives Matter Oklahoma. But you also heard that they don't just work with Black people. They also work with LGBT plus communities, faith-based organizations, and women, because they realize that when we work together, we're stronger. I hope you realize that too. This is Risha Grant with Two Works for You.